After last Saturday's Notre Dame men's basketball victory over Clemson, Coach Mike Bray called Steve Vasturia one of the best players in the history of the Notre Dame program. High praise, but deserved and earned for our first guest this week. With 97 straight starts heading into the Miami game, Steve is set to become just the fourth player in Notre Dame history to start 100 consecutive games. Earlier this year, he became the 59th member of the Notre Dame 1,000 Point Club, and in each of Notre Dame's 3 ACC conference victories to date, Steve has scored a key basket in the closing moments. Now off the court, Steve is a management consulting major in the Mendoza College of Business. We welcome the opportunity to have Steve on the show before the team starts a brutal 3-game road trip at Miami on Thursday night.
Steve, welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Brutal 3-game road trip.
Yeah, that's a tough way to describe it.
The introduction said. Mike has said a couple of times this year that this is a team who sort of enjoys that environment of being on the road and having the challenge of silencing the crowd.
Yeah, I think we've kind of shown that. I think it's a really fun group. With the guys that we have a lot of older guys. I think that's one thing that he talked about, and we've played in a ton of big games, so it's kind of fun going on the road and playing in tough environments. The ACC obviously is one of the best conferences, but I think winning on the road is extremely, satisfying because, you kind of take their hearts right in front of their home fans, and as a competitor, it's a fun thing to do.
Yeah, and even your neutral site games this year have been home games.
They were.
You had Purdue in Indianapolis, right, and Villanova. In New Jersey.
They were definitely. We didn't play any true road games, I think, in the non-conference. But anybody who was there watching games, you could tell that was pretty much a road game. And obviously, Villanova being close to New Jersey, they're going to get a lot of fans. And
right.
Purdue, same thing, but I think that definitely helped us for our first real road game against Pittsburgh, and they were great environments. You're playing into, I guess, the Pacers, NBA arenas, two
right.
big arenas, and that's always exciting, I think, for the players to get a chance to play in a huge arena, a lot of fans, and especially against good teams.
Now, in those two games, we built big leads, couldn't quite close out the game. Been in that circumstance since and have closed out the game very effectively. What's the difference?
Yeah, I think it's a mixture of things. I would say that those are two definitely. We've learned a lot from those two games. When you take those bumps in the beginning of the season, you got to find things to find good in them. And I think, we were undefeated, we were playing really well, and we kind of got knocked back to reality a little bit. But I think we've learned how to finish games, obviously. Those are two very good teams. But I think what we've done in ACC play is we've gotten key defensive stops.
Yeah.
I think that's always been the thing. Since I've been here, Coach Bray's really preached about in this group is probably the best defensive team that I've been on. And we found ways to get those stops. Villanova and Purdue, those games, they went on runs, and we weren't really able to combat them or slow them down. And that's something that we've really been able to do in ACC.
What makes it a better defensive team?
I think the one thing is communication. It's funny, we talked about communication and how we were really good in the first half, even in those games, communicating because we were playing defense in front of our bench. And, they're talking, we have our coaches talking to us. But in the second half, we're kind of on an island, and we had to be better as the five on the court. And I think that's really one thing. We really trust each other. Guys who know how to play not just on the ball defense. We're having each other's backs. You see, I think one thing that's pretty incredible, Martin Gebbin, he's taken 3 or 4 charges in the past 3 games.
Yeah.
And you don't see many centers taking charges, especially at this level. So just guys having each other's back and giving themselves up.
When we have you and Rex, and I think increasingly TJ on the floor, we've got 3 really elite defenders. That also changes the complexion of things a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You and Rex in particular, you take enormous pride in your defense.
Yeah, I think especially when they bring in when Coach brings in Rex and TJ off the bench, they bring that spark plug on both ends of the floor, especially defensively. TJ's picking up full court, and Rex has been an unbelievable piece for us. I think, obviously last year he was coming in more on defense, and he takes a lot of pride on defense and getting stops. And it's been nice for me, when he comes in, I don't have to guard maybe their best guy, and he takes over that role. But I think it's been really impressive, as we saw last game and the game before, how I would say both are making an impact on the offensive end too, and people are going to have to start respecting their games on the offensive side.
Yeah, Rex in particular had a couple of big shots
Yep.
last game, and of course at Pitt, TJ was a huge spark.
Absolutely. Yeah, they've been really good, and I think they're just going to continue to get better. I mean, they're fearless. Like you said, they don't mind playing in big spots, and I think TJ showed that as a freshman. He's been great all year long, and I think he's just going to continue to get really good.
How do you manage the physical load you carry? So you are frequently guarding the other team's best guy. You are counted on offensively, and you don't come off the floor by and large. How do you make it through a season?
Yeah, I think that's something it's definitely been a process for me. It's been I've kind of increased the minutes I've played since I've been a freshman, and I've tried to learn how to take better care of my body. It's something that Coach Bray really challenged me, I think. Getting in to see Skip, our trainer, getting in the ice bath and trying to just stay as fresh as possible, because it is a long season. It's a grueling season. ACC, you're playing 18 games, and every game's a battle. Every game you see our first 3 games, they come down to the last minute. So for me, just trying to stay fresh. Coach does a great job of, when we need our rest, we get a couple of days off of practice, or we just do a walkthrough. And I'm just trying to continue to get better, and the mental side and preparation. And I think I'm getting there, but there's always some more to learn in that regard.
Well, I told you this when we ran into each other in the hallway the other day, but I don't remember somebody playing at a sort of a higher level than you are right now. These past 2 games, I mean, it's just been every aspect of your game, right? Your ball handling, your shooting, your defense, but you do so many little things out there. There was that one breakaway, I can't remember who had it. It may have been TJ, where you just take a half-step move and you're between the defender and any chance of blocking that layup. You have a basketball IQ that's through the roof. Where'd that come from?
I think it's come from a lot of different things. I've had a lot of great teachers of the game. I've been around, basketball my whole life. My mom played in college, and she was probably my first coach. She was always getting me out in the driveway, getting me to, work on my game. And I don't think the one thing about my mom, which is pretty cool, I go home for the summer, and she still rebounds for me. I don't know many moms that are going to the gym with their sons doing that, so that's pretty special. But, yeah, I've been fortunate. In high school, played for Speedy Morris, unbelievable coach, and AAU, Tony Sagona, who's sent a bunch of guys here to Notre Dame. And I've been lucky to learn from them and just try to pick their brains. And obviously Coach Bray, I've learned a ton from him. So it's what helped me get onto the floor, in high school when I was a younger player, and in college early in my career, and it's something that I try to continue to get better at and learn every chance I can.
Coach was saying the other day he's only recruiting New Jersey, New York guards from now on, right? That it's there's a toughness that comes with that, right?
Yeah, I think we take pride in it. And, especially you see the way Matty Farrell's been playing, and TJ's the same way, and they don't back down from anything, and they're fun to play with. And I think there's just a certain edge there that, the game's on the line, or there's a 50-50 ball, and they're going to stick their nose in there and make some sort of play.
So we do hit a road trip here that's going to test us, give us a good measuring stick. We've done well against the early season measuring sticks. How do you approach the road differently?
Yeah, I think especially this, where we have 3 straight games on the road. Coach Bray, I know after the Clemson game, talked about looking at the first 2 games is kind of like NCAA tournament weekend. You're not coming home to Notre Dame, but you got to take care of business on the first one. And looking at Miami, they really handed it to us twice last year, and we have a chance to kind of have a little payback. But they're really good at home. They're really talented, and I think for us it's just having a good 2 days of practice here, and then we'll get a little shoot around in Miami before the game, and They have a 20-game home winning streak that Coach Bray mentioned, and I think that's another cool incentive to try to knock that off. And anytime you can get a win on the road, that's really important. And I think it'd be big to get that first win on this road trip, and that way bring some momentum and confidence going into the one on Saturday.
What's the scouting report?
So they lost 3 of their probably main seniors that most people would recognize, and Rodriguez, who kind of ran the show for them.
Right.
But they have they still have a good nucleus back. Jaquan Newton, who's their point guard, who was a really good 6-man for them. They have Davon Reed and Murphy, who they're the guys who really contributed last year, but they have a couple good freshmen who are making an impact. And I think the one thing with them is they're really long. They're good on the defensive end of the ball, so we have to take care of it. One thing we've been very good at, and they're a little different this year that we talked about in regards with they play a little slower. They move it in the half court. They run good offense, so we have to be patient defensively, and we might have to play for 25, 30 seconds on the defensive end, and we got to be able to do that and then box out and get to running.
Yeah, you guys have done a great job rebounding this year against some really tough opponents in that regard, either being very close, as in the case with Clemson, or out rebounding Louisville.
Yeah.
We wouldn't look like a team who could do that. What's the secret?
Right. I think you watch this team, and one person, some who might not get a lot of credit is Martin Gevin. He's been, I think, outstanding on the glass, being a presence for us inside. And I think he's only going to continue to get better with more games and more reps. But he's big, he's athletic, and he's a good force for us inside. Obviously, Bonzi's he's going to give you 10 rebounds a game, and that's really important. But I think continuing, myself, VJ, Rex, to help them out on the glass. As wings, we got to get down there and help them out. But I think they've been really consistent and just having that physical presence, because obviously the teams we played so far are, very big, and they kind of run these 7-footers off the bench like it's nothing. So just continuing to battle down there and having guys step up and, grab a couple rebounds for us here and there.
I think the bigger the guy and the more publicized he is, the more Bonds wants to play.
Right.
He's
Bonzi,
amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy. Bonzi's my height, and he's every single night he's battling, going against somebody who's 7 feet tall, 6'10", and I think you saw it in the Clemson game. He doesn't back down. He got blocked a couple times, but he's going right back in there, and I think he's kind of the way he plays and his mentality is huge for this team, and he's a great leader for us. And people see him fired up, or just getting us going, and we really thrive off that.
Among your many responsibilities with this team, one is being the captain. How have you approached that role with this team?
Yeah, I think last year I was able to. I was lucky enough I was named a captain during the year, and I think it was good because I was able to learn. I've always said I've had a chance to learn from so many great leaders. My years coming up, but this year being a senior, I think myself and VJ, really tried to set a tone with how we come in every single day and work. I know I've really prided myself on, not missing any games or practices and being giving it 110% every single time in the gym. So that's one thing I've really tried to do is just lead by example in that way, but also just developing relationship with everybody on the team. Especially the younger guys, because, one thing we always talk about, it's a long season. We're together for a long time. So just knowing the kids on the team really well, and I feel like I do, and knowing which buttons to push, how to talk to people. And it's a close team, and I think we've been able to push the right buttons so far. And just trying to learn every day. For me, learning from my teammates, Bonzi and VJ are also captains, learning from them and figuring out our roles.
We've touched on a number of things here that go to your leadership, your basketball IQ. Do you see yourself coaching someday?
I've always thought about coaching. I think one thing that I always wanted to do is, try to, keep playing after my college career. But I've always enjoyed coaching. I like, I've coaching in camps and when I go home and, coaching the younger kids in my town. So I think I've always been around basketball, and I've been able to learn a lot. So I definitely think coaching could be in my future at some point, and I would love to be able to take what I've learned and teach kids the game and help them to develop and get to where they want to be.
Well, I have no doubt you could do that. I hope there's a lot more basketball, not just
Right.
this year for another deep run, but in your future for many years playing basketball. But when that's over, you would make one heck of a coach, just as you've been one extraordinary representative of this place through your time here. And thanks for all you do for Notre Dame.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
We'll be back in a minute.
In the locker room, we're not really talking much. We're kind of, visualizing what's going to happen on the ice and staying focused on what's up next.
Open up the door, kind of blinded by the light right away that comes in through the tunnel. It's like kind of just being thrust into the world. It feels like everything's kind of over on top of you.
Playing for my teammates, you'd literally do anything for them. You're a family with them. It's amazing playing with a team like this.